Hello everyone, this is Ether Dragon, and welcome back to another episode of Fire Emblem Heroes. As you can see, we did alright on offense. We are in tier 39 by a large margin, but let's see how we did on our replays. So this week on offense was unfortunately pretty boring. It was just mostly damage calcs. There were a few funny plays, but nothing too notable. We did goof one unit twice, so we ended up losing, I believe, 40 left on offense this week, if I'm not mistaken. One of them was a mistap where I was baiting out however you want to pronounce her name, and some of their other units eventually with Nino, but I accidentally initiated into Gunther, which procs Legendary Tiki's bar save. And the problem with that is that Nino dropped below dodging panic mana range, so the Nino got panicked and throw for refine. It just absolutely devastates Nino with that many debuffs on her. You know, all the field buffs are panic, and then we also have, I think there was like attack speed menace from not. So we were just absolutely doomed there, unfortunately. I don't actually remember what the other goof was this season, but it was also something silly that shouldn't have happened. That's pretty much how it goes when we play the raids while brain dead. But yeah, a lot of this week actually was Vantage sweeping, which I don't get to do that often. Even though a lot of people don't run Hardy Bearing anymore, it's just typically hard to Vantage kill because a lot of popular red units exist, like Dual Lip and whatnot. But a lot of people made their teams and arranged their teams in such a way where we could bait units out without having to get absolutely obliterated by Dual Lip. So that was super nice. We got to do some funny Vantage sweeps. There was a team with a Legendary Sigurd and Harmonized Katria and whatnot. There was a festival, Hoshidan Festival, Makaya, the Red Tone Dancer form on their team. So they had a Hardy Bearing technically, but the problem was Nino is just so bulky with our memes. And coupled with like Sabotage Attack Vanilla, we can get reasonably effectively bulky. So funny enough that we could actually one round KO their Legendary Sigurd turn 1, and then we Vantage sweeped after that. We took out most of their main threats, and then we just cleaned up all the structures and called it a day. But yeah, it was kind of interesting to be able to Vantage quite a bit this week. And definitely some Dual Lips and whatnot running around. We definitely ran into Legendary Sigurds this week, even though
seems like a bad sign.
Even though, you know, it's win season, so it's kind of expected. But it never gets old to see them because it's usually an interesting matchup for our team. We can pull. Those are the kind of matches where we can pull off some pretty ridiculous things. But in classic Sophia's fashion, she's going to be unable to deal with daggers. Suggestion triangle, by the way. And she's just gonna get one round KO'd because dagger procs Ether. Otherwise, we probably would have been able to win there. Actually, no, because it was our enemy phase, so no. But you know, at the end of the day, that's the Ether raids for us in a nutshell. It's all about the RNG of who we get, who we have to face. Not really. The only thing I could do to make our lives harder would be to do more single matches, but I just don't have the time for that. I've just been doing the 8 double matches strategy. It is more punishing to do the double match strategy when you do lose compared to only single matches, but single matches just mean you're more likely to get difficult matchups or even unwinnable matchups. Usually we don't get into those scenarios where we completely can't win, but there's sometimes those instances, so you have to worry about them. But here, of course, not just going to break the breakable wall, and that just allows Legendary Julia to go on a rampage. And she goes after Dual Peony. She has 1 more HP than Yuri. Feels bad, man. But Bramamon gets danced, and he can pick up the kill on Yuri, so no hidden run shenanigans for them. More.
Just my luck.
And so it's a Ripperoni at this point. They can probably still win, maybe, because they get Bolt Tower here. But Seliph still exists, so it's probably a difficult matchup regardless. Something I forgot to mention in the Resonant Battles episode is I am aware that you can hear my taps on the screen. There's not really much I can do about that unless I actually put in effort into editing my videos, because again, to use internal audio recording to record the in-game audio, I can't super control how loud the internal audio is, so that ends up becoming an issue since we have to compensate by boosting microphone volume, which means of course you're going to hear the taps since the microphone's ultra boosted. Maybe there's a way for me to do it using the software I have on my phone here, but yeah, I don't know about it. Bravike here. Of course, he's going to survive Legendary Julia here. It's by a close margin, but he's unable to kill, which is the most relevant thing here. Because Bramamon gets to go jump in with Wings of Mercy. Now he can snipe down Brave Lucina. Of course, Brave Lucina also wasn't in range to buff at all. And here, Knot is going to be able to finish off Bravike. And that's all for that turn, but they're already in a terrible spot, so quick surrender. We have a pretty heavy dragon and beast team, and then there's double flame. Of course, the whole gimmick here is they are trying to hyperstack damage reduction. There's even Pulse Time Freya, because let's be real, she's not that great on offense. Even as a combat unit nowadays, so you pretty much need to pull a shenanigan like this, but of course with Lilac Jade Breath, Harmonized Myrrh here can get quite a bit of damage reduction. I don't know what the max damage reduction is off the top of my head, so let's calc it right here real quick. So if both lanes are in range, and of course assuming that the flames aren't ignored and all that, or looks like she has a maximum of 82.36% damage reduction, which is pretty good, not too shabby. Of course, the main problem is she only has 59 HP, and she's likely going to be missing kills, and there's Legendary Julia to deal with because she still has her dragon weakness, and of course Legendary Julia does have a non-negligible res stat as well. But of course, the thing is there's Distant Guard as well. But there's still, Legendary Julia has a crud ton of res here at 57 with Virtuous Naga active. So it's not trivial for Harmonized Myrrh to get the maximum damage reduction off the Dragon Wall, if she gets any at all. And here with Spring Impact, Bramamon is able to control Harmonized Myrrh, and he's not doing too much damage, of course. Seliph, of course, is not going to do much better.
Easy spring breezy.
But Harmonized Myrrh again unable to kill because too much HP. But Seliph can't proc a special, so not great for us. Bramamon's back for more, but he's only going to get stuck once here.
Let's go.
And the thing is, they're using Glimmer, so The whole point of running Glimmer like this over some healing special is Fatal Smoke is more and more popular nowadays. So
We can do this.
running a healing special is generally useless. You want to be able to kill, but even as we've seen here, even with Glimmer, Harmonized Mirror is still missing kills. So that's a problem. But the ruse is definitely helpful for sure. Definitely invaluable when you're trying to spam damage reduction. Of course, against stuff like pre-charged Jedi, you don't have much going for you unless you can even pulse tie that out of the way with Freya.
Let's go. It's time.
But of course not is, well, not going to do a lot of damage here. The legendary Julia is here, and she's doing quite a bit of damage. So she's not going to one-shot because they're stacking damage reduction, of course, the double flame, and even if Dragon Ball isn't active, Lilac is active as well, but it is not enough to handle dragon effectiveness. And so now, legendary Julia can go on and go for another kill here on Flame. And the damage reduction is not going to save her here. Needed a bit more, but Joseph's going to be doing absolutely nothing like usual. She's basically there to buff res, that's about it. The only relevant buff is to legendary Julia. Makes it a lot easier for her to dodge sabotage attack Camillas most of the time. And here we are with, well, it should be clear already, it's a Gale Force team, which definitely can be quite effective against our defense, as we've seen over the months, the many months of this defense barely changing. Honestly, if I were to change stuff about this defense, it would probably just be the layout, but our layout's already pretty mean as is. We've changed it a couple times in minor ways, but it's not too big of a deal. I'm honestly surprised when we had Bramamon in the top left corner, more people didn't bait him out below the fortress, because of course, besides legendary, whatever other ranged unit you were using, the sweeping legendary Julia, the only other unit that could possibly attack is that ranged unit, so they're either checking out damage here, or they're just getting set up, not entirely sure. Of course, sudden panic might be annoying for them here, not sure. I kind of doubt it. But they are just getting really set up here. And they'll probably just be able to use Ash to go in. They'll go for the double smite, which is safe and a good play because it is the real heavy trap. Ira's just going to be able to nuke not. So that's just a Gale Force proc. See what they do next here. Alright, they take out Nils. They're already in Wings of Mercy range. So they're just, this is probably just for positioning sake. Alright, Azura going in for her Gale Force. Still pretty solid as a Gale Force dancer with its Curtains Plus. And that was a 1 cooldown Gale Force, so definitely pretty darn consistent. About as consistent as you're going to get. Without fully pre-charging it, which is pretty ridiculous unless your name's like Navarre or whatnot. Pretty hard to pre-charge. And Brave Marianne, of course, with her damage reduction, is just going to be able to wall this giant Ignis proc from Zealot. But, you know, you can tell because she took 29 damage. Even though she has a 70% damage reduction, was it? So that's quite a bit of damage, but that's the value of Brave Marianne's damage reduction in a Gale Force team like this. He's able to take that one shot pretty well, unless of course it's something like Deadeye, then well, that's not gonna work. And here we are with another team here. Of course, one problem with this current loadout is that we don't really have any real damage output for hyper tanks. So in this case, they have a Fallen Edelgard here with plus res, which I think is a decent choice. that 61 visible res means her AoE, even if it were to hit Fallen Edelgard, would not do too well. You can see it would do 39 damage. Because, of course, the damage reduction that Fallen Edelgard has does not apply to AoE specials. So yeah, we're just gonna get walled here by Fallen Edelgard. It's not like we can do too much here. Especially since the AoE doesn't proc on her. If it did proc on her, we would have a chance here at least. Because, you know, we would hit for the 30... What did I say? 39 damage, and then we would hit for 21, so we actually would kill. But, you know, they're positioned in such a way where we can't do that. And that's the thing about AoE specials on defense against save teams. People have to be sabotaging themselves most of the time to get screwed over by AoE, because you don't need to do those things. Also, speaking of which, the last match, I don't know if they popped their Harmonize skill. That might have been useful. I guess it's just a matter of them. That's probably something where you have to do the daily damage calcs to know when to pop it. Because if you pop it, then it's just useless. Then, well, what are you gonna do about it? But Glimmer here is going to be able to take out Knots pretty handily. And at this point, unfortunately, Seliph can't ever get the attack off on Myr because of how we've designed our map. So, Sothis is going to do a whopping 3 damage here before she gets taken out. And it's GG at this point because Seliph and 2 dancers are not going to make an impact when they can't immediately snipe down any of the more frail units. At least Sylvia avoids the double here, but that's about it. They don't have a dancer, so they just have to go in and attack here. Easy one shot for Dagger at that point. And of course, Seliph's going to get walled by Fallen Edelgard. Not too surprising there. And with her Bonfire, she'll be able to take him out. If you couldn't take him out with Bonfire, there's something wrong with the build. I guess if you're using like Iceberg, honestly Iceberg's probably better. But you do have to contend with stuff like low attack res and stuff on units like Dual Lift, I guess. And they are running attack defense form and attack defense. It makes sense. I don't know. I feel like debuffs to defense are more common than res outside of like lulls, but eh. Alright, here we are with an interesting team. You don't see this too often nowadays against our defense. Ophelia and Fallen Leo, or Leon, whatever you want to call him. The problem is there's Leon the Archer, and then there's Leon. I just say Leon because of the voice lines, but as I've figured out from playing this game for so long, even the voice actors don't necessarily use the correct, in giant quotes, correct pronunciation of some of the characters, which is pretty funny. There's not enough consensus apparently. But of course, Rammon's going to come in because Legendary Julia was not going to have a great matchup against Fallen Leon. That's a given, granted. Let's put it this way, if he loses to Legendary Julia, something's wrong. It's totally possible for it to happen, but you really have to be trying pretty hard to lose that way. And with the way our units move, well, we don't get any more attacks there. So
the time has come.
Fallen Leon's going to attack Legendary Julia here and she's going to counter 2x2, which is not too bad. But yeah, the one thing is that she has Fury, so kind of a problem. She actually can one-shot Ophelia. I guess that should be kind of expected because Ophelia is pretty low bulk. I'm guessing they were trying to take out Seliph with Ophelia or something and couldn't do it. That would be my guess. Because of course the meme gimmick is that if you initiate into him and don't have guard, he counters with Ignis, which is a decent amount of damage. So this double life and death Ophelia is not going to have a great time against it. And here we are with, well, more save shenanigans. No surprise. Pretty much can't lose here unless they pull something silly, like that one match we had way back when, quite a few weeks ago, where a player decided to bait Legendary Julia's AoE with their save unit, with their near save unit, I think it was, and then have their far save unit directly below, so Legendary Julia just nuked really hard. But here, even though we have even pulse tide to get rid of Ascended P-Arms special, unfortunately we just don't do enough damage with this team to be a threat. And so they can just take out Self with Ash. That's pretty common, of course, because that's a pretty solid defense stat. And of course with Horn of Opening, when she's transformed, she memes over our special acceleration study rep, which is pretty solid. Like here, if Legendary Julia could actually get in and attack, you know, we'd do some decent damage, but of course she's way too far back, and the thing about this defense is that the ranged unit will really like to break the breakable wall, so they just stay in the back, just chilling, not doing anything. So sometimes a rally probably would be helpful, but of course the problem with that is with isolation and whatnot, it can be exploited pretty hard.
No mercy.
And with our defense being in Dark Season and Nilla existing, probably not a good idea. Now Legendary Julia is of course in range to actually go attack someone, but of course there's this option they have of taking her out before that happens. So of course it's not going to be great for us here. Ash with her guaranteed follow-up attack, able to one-round KO Legendary Julia. Otherwise she actually misses the kill. Don't think it really would have mattered though, because of course they could have gone for a different play. Instead, Soth is just going to be doing Soth's things here, aka nothing. And at least she's going to survive one attack, that's about it. Still going to get one round KO'd because of Soth's. Still remember those old matches where we would get obliterated by Soth's when we were using Nino because we would vantage into Soth's, missed the kill, especially when she was bonus, and then she would counter back to Sirius and do too much damage. Nowadays that's less common. I mean, it's not even common nowadays to even see Soth's, even when she's bonus, but you know. Haven't watched any of these replays coming up, so we'll see what the heck happens here. Got ourselves another dual save team. Pretty standard to try to tank against our team. The thing I'm seeing here is not a lot of seals. Not sure if they just goofed and entered Ether Raids without re-equipping seals or whatnot, because you can lock in your teams too, so your raiding parties, so you don't need to ever worry about that. Looks like they're just gonna hit end turn, which, I mean, to be fair, it works if you do it right. Bramlon up against the Ascended P-Arm, and once again her Ice Mirror is unprocced because of even Pulse Tie. This P-Arm in particular has a pretty decent HP stat for once, but 68 HP is not enough for Mill's 73, so not even close. Selloth here, of course, can't proc Ignis, so he's going to get absolutely walled by Gustav, but Gustav can't pick up the kill, so Jess can triangle for the win. Ascended P-Arm once again going to face tank Bramlon here, because he is super reliant on his guaranteed follow-up attack, and Party Fighter says no. Alright, I think the pressing issue right now is that Legendary Julia is now in range to do things. So they need to be careful not to get AoE to death pretty much. And then I think they're fine. Problem is Not still exists. So, ooh, that's not a good play to make here. On top of Sudden Panic. You can now attack Gustav for just the ultimate AoE memes. And while she can't take out a Sundered PR, she has severely damaged the rest of their team. Yeah, so we got Luna incoming. This is why we run Luna, so we can at least try to do 1 damage. As if you're running Luna and still do 0 damage, I think you're in need of a higher attack stat.
Am I not strong enough?
That's pretty much all that means. Doing 0 proccing Luna is pretty hard. Even if you have like 40 attack or something, or even 30 attack, it's pretty hard. You need to be going up against a super big heavy tank unit to do 0 damage. And because of that AoE meme, it kind of got memed over there. But I think regardless, the fact Julia had AoE just meant their units in the front were going to get hit. One of their units in the front were going to get hit anyways, so they were already in a bad spot. What really did it though was Gustav being there. I think if they just kept the diamond formation, they would have been fine. Because neither of the safe units would get hit, and that's all that really matters. So they definitely didn't need to lose units there. Rallying completely incorrect as well. Sudden Panic on Sylvia is just going to do wonders, and well, Sylvia going to miss the kill like usual. That's pretty typical. But they are running out of turns, so we gotta go pretty quick here. They decide to attack Sylvia. Don't know what I think about that, because that lets Sylvia proc her special on her. Which I don't think it's good, because you have Wodow Plus as well. So with Moonbow, that's the kill. And now going into the last turn. Can't do anything. There's 3 units to take out and only Dagger. So, ripperoonies. And well, here we go. We got another save team. Who would have thought? It's kind of interesting that against infantry pulls, which is a team designed to spam out damage, people are bringing save teams. Of course, you know, you can just wall this team with save units. It's totally possible. You just got to do it right. Not like what person did last episode, or last match. I guess stuff happened last episode too, but that was kind of jank. Alright, they're just gonna hit Entrant Ruler, kind of interesting. Don't hate it, but problem is, Henriette's up against Legendary Julia and Bramamon, so that's already an uphill matchup. Especially against Legendary Julia, because she has so much res, you can just wall Henriette. But of course, Bramamon's probably going to do more damage, because he has Luna, not AoE. Like Legendary Julia, but they'll do 22 times 2 here. So unlike that previous match, unlike a match from way back when, we don't get memed over by Henriette surviving by 1 HP this time, so that's great for us. And now Bramamon can finish the kill on Uller now that she's weakened. Severely weakened, but of course Uller, her bulk is not amazing anyways, so not a difficult kill. But at this point, they are just in a bad spot. I would have personally brought in Gustav if you're going to keep playing at this point, because you probably want to retain your save support. But otherwise, you're going to have to deal with Seliph and company, and Seliph does some damage, and it's Ash can't one-shot. She's close to it, but you know, you need to have a massive defense stat to one-shot at that point. Now that she's weakened, Seliph can get himself murdered.
Do try to understand.
Because he can't do any damage. Now that some parts of Divine Tear Queen are unprocced, but that's why we have reposition on Sophis. One, so she doesn't move first and waste the dance, but she doesn't do anything.
Such
Two, so
disgrace.
we can get stuff like this to happen. Because so this doesn't do anything in general, so you might as well. But yeah, at this point, it's just a surrender. Lost too many units. And last one for now. Alright, looks like a pretty just player face heavy team. We have Deadeye. Holy Vestments Milla. Don't hate it, except it's not Sacred Cow. I don't know why they're running Holy Vestments. Because of course one of Milla's problems is that she gets hit by Dark Shrine a lot. And she has low HP, even when she's bonus. So she gets one round KO'd by her. So I don't hate it, it's just that Holy Vestments is pretty much just worth Sacred Cowl in almost every instance. Here they utilize our free Wings of Mercy setup vending machine. Get your free Wings of Mercy setup. Yeah. In an actual reasonable defense scenario, we don't do that. We shouldn't do that kind of stuff, but of course we're too flowing with this defense, so we have it there. It's been a while since anyone's used it for free Wings of Mercy, so that's cool at least. But now they have Ash and company to set up and start picking up kills. Of course, if this doesn't have turn 1 miracle, we're running Quick and Pulse Seal on Legendary Julia to get the turn 1
This is
AoE.
it. Yes. Oh,
That's
what's
why Julian's going to pick up the 1 round KO, especially since she is in desperation range. She also has the guaranteed follow-up attack
You're a
from
wonder.
Legendary Lucina's Future Vision 2, so she's just going
This
to
is
be
it.
wrecking
Yes.
face
Oh,
here.
what she said.
She pretty much just needs the desperation against Seliph, I would imagine. Everyone
Go
else
for
is
it.
pretty trivial to pick up the kill on,
Prepare yourself.
especially when you can quad. You have to two-shot everything. Might not be ideal, but
Oh, Lynn, you're
30
a
times.
wonder.
Alright, yeah, so that's just a 1 round KO.
You're
Unless
finished.
he's or two-shot. Yeah. Very, very narrow shot, but that's what the dagger debuff
Go
does for
for
you.
it.
The drawback of lowering the opponent's defense for the purposes of Moonbow is not as important as being able to attack twice and getting that extra 7 damage each shot.
This is going to get rough.
Moonbow isn't going to compensate for that much unless the enemy unit, I think, has a ridiculously high defense
I
stat, by
won't
which
lose.
point probably not using dual in to 1 round KO that unit anyways. And with that, that is all the replays for this week. You got decently lucky on some of the timings of these matches. So we end up only losing that 48 lift from that one match, but since we don't have Hell on defense, we don't even have Hell, there's nothing we could really do about that. It was pretty inevitable that we would just lose lift like that. But even with that, we are in tier 39, top 1k. Basically guaranteed I'd be genuinely surprised if that wasn't enough. You've already seen Resonant Battles, feels bad, man. Arena, I was hearing about the cutoffs and stuff, and so I went and finally built up budget Frederick. So now I have another unit for Earth Season and Arena Assault. For example, taking out maybe Legendary Tickies or whatnot. Although Legendary Tiki can survive him, believe it or not, if she has field buffs, which is why I might end up just giving him Slaying Hammer with the Nullify field buff for fine on armored units, because that would perform better than Frederick's X. Because we're not refining him. Death Blow and plus 3 HP is not worth the refine at this point. Feels bad, man. But yeah, I don't like that Allegiance battles and Arena Assault are concurrent with each other, because the consequence of Arena Assault, main consequence of Arena Assault being every other week, is that only half the Mythic Blessings can be used for scoring purposes. So now, permanently, unless they have to change the Arena Assault schedule or something for some reason, Arena Assault is always going to be during Astra and Anima season, so our Light and Dark Blessed units are just unusable in Arena Assault. So let's just briefly go to an empty team here. I don't know why I still have Broker Sieges up, but yeah. All these units are now useless to us, which is a bit unfortunate, but I mean, what are you gonna do about it? Mostly like Ash and Peony. Not, I guess. There's like Gaiden Dual Lens sometimes is useful. Very occasionally useful on some flyer dominant maps where we need to go for a greedy snipe and run. But we'll be back when the results drop in. And here we go. 692. Alright. Another random top 1k finish. Flyer School, we have Plumeria and Duma, so that's cool. Don't know if we're gonna try Legendary Almond Defense. He's honestly not gonna do much as bonus. So, yeah. I don't know. Probably gonna perform better than Crom. We'll give it a try because he has a 2 cooldown special. Unfortunately, we would have to still run Quick Impulse to get up to special turn 1. Yeah, we'll think about that. Probably will end up doing it. Resonant Bells, alright, back to interval 18, feels bad. And of course, we have Arena. Back to tier 21. This week might be less competitive because it's no longer win season. And we'll probably be running a team like this. We'll see how it goes. The match shouldn't be too difficult because we do have Plumeria and Crom. But other than that, Grand Conquest going on. We gotta finish tap battles, but not all the stages are out yet. But until then, that's gonna be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. As always, this is Ether Dragon, and hope to see you all next time. Bye!